We think of hospitals as places to heal, right? But what if I told you they're also a battleground against an enemy you can't even see? Today, we're going to dive into this hidden danger, these superbugs, and look at some incredible nanotechnology that's taking them on. It's a crazy thought, isn't it? The very place you go to get better could be harboring dangers that are actually evolving, getting stronger, faster than we can keep up. It's a real paradox. Okay, so you see this bottle, looks pretty standard, right? Like any old disinfectant. But what's inside? That's where things get interesting. It's this wild mix of, believe it or not, ancient history and super advanced nanotechnology. And it's designed specifically for the places that need it most, like our hospitals and intensive care units. All right, so before we get into how this stuff works, we really need to understand the problem itself. I mean, what are hospitals really facing day in and day out? Let's break it down. So, here's the deal. The old ways of cleaning just aren't cutting it anymore. We've got these antibiotic-resistant superbugs popping up, not to mention constant cross-contamination. And the usual stuff, like chlorine, it's not just getting less effective, it's actually damaging all that super expensive, sensitive medical gear. So this isn't just about being clean, it's a massive financial headache and a huge risk to a hospital's reputation. Okay, so what do you do then? What's the alternative? Well, it turns out the answer might have been hiding in plain sight for centuries. We're talking about one of the oldest germ fighters known to man, just completely reinvented with 21st century tech. And that answer is colloidal silver. Now, I know what you might be thinking, and you can just forget any of the weird folklore you've heard about it. This is something else entirely. It's what's called an advanced nanodispersion. All that means, really, is you've got these teeny tiny particles of super pure silver just floating around in water. We're talking particles so small, they're measured in nanometers. And check out the stats on this stuff. It's 99.99% pure silver. There's no chlorine, no alcohol, none of that harsh stuff. That means it's non-toxic, it doesn't smell, and, this is a big one, it's not corrosive. So it's safe for people, and it won't wreck that expensive equipment. But the real magic is the size. Each particle is only about 15 nanometers. To give you an idea of how small that is, you could fit thousands of them across a single human hair. It's mind-bogglingly tiny. So you've got these incredibly tiny silver particles. But how do they actually work? How do they take on bacteria, viruses, and all that nasty stuff on a microscopic battlefield? It's actually pretty brilliant and kind of brutal. Think of the silver nanoparticles as little magnets. They're drawn to the proteins on the outside of a germ. They latch on, and they basically, they smother it. They cut off the germ's ability to breathe and to multiply. They just suffocate them right on the spot, stopping them dead in their tracks. And how well does it work? I mean, really? The numbers are pretty staggering. It wipes out up to 99.9% of the harmful germs it touches. And that includes some of the nastiest, most stubborn superbugs that hospitals are so worried about. And you gotta see this, seriously. Look at this. On the left, you've got a petri dish just teeming with Klebsiella pneumonia. That's a really nasty bug that causes some tough infections. Then, on the right, that's the same dish just 40 minutes after being exposed to the silver. It's just gone. I mean, wow. You can't ask for a clearer picture of how powerful this is. Okay, that's great in a lab. But what about the real world? How do you actually use this stuff in a complicated space, like an operating room or an ICU? Well, they have a whole system for it. It's pretty straightforward. There's Regime S, which is a stronger mix for wiping down surfaces and general areas. Then you have Regime F, a lighter mix that's used as an aerosol or a fog, and we'll talk more about that in a sec. And finally, Regime I is for soaking medical tools before they go into the sterilizer, giving them an extra deep clean. Okay, now this dry fog method, this is where things get really cool. They seal off a room, right? And then a machine fills the entire space with this super fine mist of the silver solution. This fog gets literally everywhere, places you could never reach by hand, deep inside air vents, behind all that heavy equipment. It coats every last surface. You let it sit for about half an hour, then air out the room, and what's left behind is this invisible germ-fighting shield. So yeah, it's obviously super effective at killing germs. But the real story here is all the other benefits that come with it. It's what makes this a much smarter way to think about keeping hospitals clean. You see, the benefits just keep stacking up. It's not just a clean for now kind of thing. The silver actually leaves behind a protective layer that keeps working. And remember how harsh chemicals can damage equipment? Not a problem here, because this stuff is non-corrosive. It's way safer for the hospital staff too, no nasty fumes. But maybe the biggest thing is this. By stopping infections before they start, it saves hospitals an absolute fortune in treatment costs. All right, I know what you're thinking. This sounds amazing. It must cost a fortune, right? Well, let's look at the actual numbers. For just wiping down surfaces, a whole liter of the ready-to-use stuff costs just $1.48. And what about that awesome dry fog method we were just talking about? Get this. The cost for that is even lower. It's only 74 cents a liter. So you're getting this cutting-edge protection for a surprisingly low price. So when you add it all up, what we're seeing is that hospitals could potentially cut their total sanitation budget by up to 30%. That is a huge amount of money that can go back into what really matters, taking care of patients. There's a quote from the material that just sums it all up perfectly. It calls it a systemic prophylactic technology. That fancy word, prophylactic, just means it's about preventing problems, not just reacting to them. And it has manageable economics and a soft impact on equipment. I mean, that's the whole package, right? It's effective, it's affordable, and it's safe. It's a complete modern solution. So all of this leads to a pretty big question. We know that superbugs are getting smarter and tougher all the time. We need new weapons in this fight. So could nanotechnology, taking an ancient remedy like silver and giving it a high-tech upgrade, could that be the key? The evidence we're seeing suggests it's more than just a cool idea. It might just be the best shot we have.